So our next speaker is homegrown. She is the founder of LPC and Associates, Inc., an international corporate trainer and coach, and recently started facilitating for Ottawa U. She has been an entrepreneur for over 20 years and has had the pleasure to train in 6 different countries. She's involved as a coach in a youth program here in Ottawa called Discovery Year. She is the co-chair of the Women Moving Forward conference held in Ottawa for the first time last weekend. She is accredited as an international consultant in strategic negotiation, has a degree in adult education and management labor relations. She is excited to add speaking to her pedigree. Please stand and help me give a warm Ottawa welcome to Linda Cousineau.
Remember high school? The one thing that scared me the most was knowing that one day I would have to dissect a frog. I still thank the universe that I never had to do it. I got away with it. I didn't think I could do it. My value system would just not allow me to do something, as far as I was concerned, so cruel to such a cute little creature. Now, I'm sure that some of you in the room here dissected a frog, enjoyed it, couldn't wait to cut it apart and look at its guts, and then you bragged about it, right? I would like to ask 4 volunteers on stage with me, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about values. Could we give them a bit of appreciation? We are very highly guided daily by our value system in our professional life and in our personal life. When I look at values, I like to use a proven system called BANK. As you can see, B-A-N-K. So let's go back to high school. The teacher just announced we're going to be dissecting frogs this week. And let's see how these 4 groups, because very quickly the class is going to separate in 4 groups. B is for blueprint. Joan is my blueprint. Blueprint value things like systems, processes, rules. So for Joan, dissecting a frog is a wee little bit uncomfortable because Joan likes to do things that she's used to do. So new things are always a little bit uncomfortable. Now, having said that, she knows that her teacher has been doing that every year with her class for the last 8 years. So for Joan, the teacher has credibility. Obviously, she knows what she's doing. So she's going to listen very carefully to her teacher, who is going to give her the step-by-step process on how to dissect a frog. And she's going to be looking forward to do it because she knows her teacher knows what to do. So she is going to hang on to all of those bits of instructions from her teacher. Dissection day is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Joan will be there at 9:30. Ready. And for Joan, this is not about the frog. This is about learning to dissect a frog. A is for action. Cassia is my action. Action value things like fun, freedom, excitement, spontaneity. Cassia and her group are going to be thinking, if we are going to be dissecting frogs, we're actually going to have to go and get some frogs. So Cassia is going to be thinking, I'm going to the pond. Pick me. I'm going to the pond. I want to go get dirty, wet, muddy. I want to put that big grin on my face. I'm going to catch those frogs. And she's going to want to go with a group, because if you go as a group, you can have a competition. Cassia likes to win. So she is going to be coming back bragging that she got the most amount of frogs. Because for her, second place would only be first place loser. She is going to come back to school late because that's just what she does. Excuse me. And as for nurturing, Liz is my nurturing. So for Liz, she values things like morality, relationship, community. Liz is thinking, she just heard that we're going to be dissecting frog, and the first word out of her mouth is, "Oh, but the poor little frogs." And she's already getting a little emotional. She's thinking already, what if I could kidnap them back and put them in the pond? She is having a really, really, really tough time with the idea that people are going to dissect frog. Because on the day of dissection, Liz is not going to show up to school. Liz is literally going to be sick at home over the cruelty of what is going to be happening at school. While the frogs are there, what she's going to do, the only thing she can do is actually going to take care of those frogs. And that's it. If I go here, K is for knowledge. Leon is my knowledge. Leon doesn't have a hard time with the idea of dissecting a frog, like Liz does. But Leon, years ago, would have ran to the library and would have spent a few hours there. Nowadays, he's just going to go run to his desk and search on the internet. He's going to research as much information as he can about the frogs and the dissection process. Because for Leon, as a knowledge, the things that he values most are research, technology, information, so things like that. So for him, dissecting the frog, he's going to get all that information, and then he's going to get to school equipped with as much knowledge as he can. He's going to be happy to share that knowledge with everybody, and he is the one who's going to tell the teacher if she's got something wrong. Okay? So that gives you a bit of an idea of those four different types. I'd like to ask the audience, could someone give me a very thrilling type of activity? Just shout one. Skydiving? Okay, skydiving. Let's go with skydiving. Is a K going to go skydiving? I hear yes, I hear no. Yes, but what is he going to do first? He's actually, pardon me? He's going to do the research. He's going to make sure that parachute is actually safe to a certain degree. But what he's going to do before even the research is he's going to go and get any kind of accreditation that he can get on how do you land, how do you jump, how does the parachute work. So he's going to be equipped with a bunch of information before he goes. He's not just going to jump. He's going to research it, and he's going to find information about it first. Liz here. She gonna go? Liz is saying to me, no way. I would like to point out, we are not just one of those letters. We are a package of four. But what I have here is these ladies and this gentleman, what the letter that is in front of them is their primary preference, okay? So Liz here may go, if some of her friends really, really dream to skydive, she might go to support them. When you see the picture on the internet, there's a big circle of people holding hand in the air. A nurturer had to think about that. Okay? So she is going to go to help someone get their dream. Action. Do you think that she's going to go? Yeah, she's already gone. She's already jumped. She doesn't quite know how the parachute's going to open, but she's gone. And she's going, ah! Totally thrilled. How about Joan? Is Joan going to jump? No. This is way too risky. She's thinking, you could get killed doing something like that. So this is pretty much, it shows you a little bit about the different values. So how does that relate to business? Well, if we talk about leadership, your blueprint wants to work with a leader who is extremely predictable, who takes minimal risk. Your action wants to work with a leader that is fun and wants to win. She needs to feel excited that her level of success is going to increase just by working with that leader. Your nurturing, Liz, wants to work with a leader who puts people first. She has to have a personal connection with her leader. And then the knowledge needs to work with a leader that is very competent, very knowledgeable, considered an expert. So let me ask you a few questions. Could a leader actually inspire these 4 types of people in the same way? Yeah, but all individually and in a different way. Could you inspire them all in the same way? No. What could happen if you put these people in roles, in positions, or with responsibilities that don't align with their values? We might end up with a lot of trouble in the organization, won't we? So let's talk about competencies. Are they all going to be able to learn new competencies as easily? No. No, they won't. Because here, we're afraid of learning different things that come out of the routine. Here, we're willing to learn anything and everything that's exciting. Here, as long as everybody's okay and they're all going to keep their job, that's good. And here, we're always happy to learn new things. So let's thank them for being on stage with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've come to realize that in business, there are 3 layers of activities. The first layer is what I call the operational layer. The operational layer consists of 4 very critical functions: hiring, buy-in, competencies, and team. And this operational layer is under constant external and internal pressure. The external pressure comes from what I call the leadership layer, the skills and abilities of the leaders to sustain 4 very strong functions. The internal pressure comes from what I call the personal layer, and that's your employees coming into work with personal aspirations, family concerns, financial concerns, and of course we can't forget about cultural diversity. So when you look at all these people in the organization in those 3 different layers, think about it. They all come around with different values. They all have different value systems. Is it no wonder that we have friction, disagreement, mistakes, misunderstanding, conflicts? Does that make sense? Absolutely. Does that make sense that we have the same in our family life as well? Does that make sense that we see the same thing in the world? What if we could actually find out enough about our value system that we could minimize the negativity in this world, in our families, in our organizations? I'm very passionate about that, and that's what I do. I meet with organizations. I talk about the importance of values and how it affects the operation of the organization. And then I train people at all levels to respect, understand, communicate more effectively, connect, and really become who they really can be. And I do that with values. When I first came on stage, some of you, blueprint, looked at my feet and said, barefoot, how unprofessional. The action probably thought, oh, this is so cool, I should have thought of that earlier. You took off your shoes, or you're still thinking about doing it. The nurturing looked at me, looked at my foot and said, the poor lady, I wonder what happened to her foot. And the knowledge thought right away, does she know this is not healthy? This is not safe. These thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, this is your value system at work. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. How'd you feel?
Very good, thank you.
So, one of the things that Linda has been really working on is getting out of the technical space in her head. When I first saw you do bank some time ago, well over a year ago, it was very technical because she knows everything about it and she wants you to know all the detail, all the technical details. So we thought if we can get her out of her head and just deep into her knowledge and her wisdom, and just have her speak about it like she would at the kitchen table, it would be much more effective. Did that sound like a technical presentation to you? No, and you believe her, and she loves it, and you can feel the passion. So a couple of things are really interesting here. Number one is, Linda always struggles with the time. Because she has this much, and she's got this much time to do it in. So you went over by about 4 minutes.
I know, I was 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you went over like by 4 minutes. And this is what happens when we're up here. But here's what I enjoyed about it, is that you were having fun, they were having fun, and so going over time from that perspective wasn't the end of the world. But here's the other side of it. If this was a convention, and there's another speaker waiting, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, you're in trouble.
Yep, absolutely.
This is the golden rule in the world of professional speaking. If there is one rule, this is it. You don't go 1 second over that clock. I mean, there's flexibility here. And I didn't want to stop you because you were just having so much fun. Now,
I was watching, and then I forgot.
I know, and this is what happens to us, right? We get in a roll, and we look down, and we go, where did the time go? So it happens. It happens to all of us. Well, it doesn't happen to me, but it happens to most of us. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I want to draw your attention to that's really cool. Linda took some risks here. She took some big risks that a lot of speakers are really afraid to take and wouldn't even ever dream of taking. One of those risks is getting volunteers on the stage. Now, she mitigated that risk a little bit by having them pre-selected. But I don't know if you noticed this. I think you did. She had the 4 volunteers. Each of them had their assigned role. And did you notice that when she spoke about them, they all played the part? They all got involved. And that's a great thing about getting volunteers, is they always contribute to the show. The risk is you never know how they're going to contribute to the show.
Because it wasn't planned.
Because it wasn't planned. And I've had them swearing. I've had them not able, I can't get them off the stage because they think an invitation up here is, this is their keynote, right? So they're going to be up here. All these different things happen when you get volunteers. It's very risky, but isn't it exciting for the audience to do that? The other risky thing she did, which I love that she did this, is she got an idea from you and then she riffed on it. Give me something thrilling. What is it? Somebody yelled out skydiving, skydiving. And so she took that right from you and she made it play out beautifully right here. That happens in real time. That's from knowing your content. That's what happens when you go through your content until your content comes through you. You can do that. Wasn't that fun? Like, didn't you find that interesting? Wouldn't that be so much better than a technical presentation telling you all the ins and outs of the 4-bank system? You'd be dozing off. So that was a huge win for you. Congratulations. Well done.
You.
One more
Thank
time
you
for Linda Cousineau.
Thank you.
Well done. Good for
Thank you. That's it?
That's right. That's
Yay.
it. You're done. Linda did that same performance, that same concept at an event we had similar to this back in the fall. And the idea of having her draw from the audience sort of came at the moment, because she did a very nice little technical presentation, and we had this idea right at the last minute. And I said, why don't you get an idea from the audience? And we got one. And it actually happened to be skydiving, I think it was. That seems the one that comes out. And then she just went to town on it. Then we got another one, and I think we did 3. And she just rolled across, and it was beautiful. And she had the audience right there in the palm of her hand. Isn't that nice when a speaker can do that and make technical information interesting by getting the audience involved? It's a real skill. And so many speakers do it badly, but Linda does it masterfully. So one more time for Linda Cousineau on that. All right.